This is Ben Davison. Subscribe to Steve Nine.
Now, ever since Deontay Wilder got absolutely dismantled by Tyson Fury and lost his WBC heavyweight world title, it was always inevitable that the excuses were going to come out, okay? Because these people who support him, for the most part even, as in the channels, have always done that. They're always in defensive mode of Deontay Wilder. There's always an excuse, blah, blah, blah. Why? Because they want him to interview on their channel, all that kind of thing, okay? So they'll do whatever it is they can to get their AdSense, to get their super chats, and of course try and get Wilder on their channel. Hey, it is what it is. But even I was a little bit surprised with the extent of some of the excuses that they were coming out with. Anyway, 2 days ago, Shelly Finkel, he officially announced that Mark Breland was no longer part of Deontay Wilder's team. Mark Breland, who's been with Deontay Wilder for 12 years, and he was the one who threw in the towel to save Deontay Wilder from further damage. Okay, so he threw in the towel. Mark Breland has now either been released or he walked off his own accord. We're still waiting for official details. I'm sure we'll find out in time. Now, that's one thing. Get rid of your trainer. This is what happens in boxing, okay? Even after 12 years, hey, it is what it is. But what I didn't expect to see was some of these Deontay Wilder fanatics, and I can only presume that they are American. Why? Because they're supporting Wilder. I mean, who else really supports him? I mean, let's be honest. But what I'm hearing, or reading even, here on YouTube, especially on social media, Twitter to be precise, yes, I know it's a very toxic place. I should know better than to read some of the stuff over there. But I can only presume that it's come from the Deontay Wilder apologists, the defenders here on YouTube, the uploaders, okay? Where what they're saying is Wilder getting rid of Breland is because Mark Breland is the rat, the mole in the camp. So what you're trying to tell me, or tell anybody who will listen and read, is that Mark Breland, who's been with Wilder for 12 years, has fought for your country as an amateur and a pro, been very, very proud of being part of Team Wilder, for whatever reason it may be, but still, he was very, very proud to be part of Team Wilder. Very, very quiet, keeping himself to himself. Doesn't say boo to a goose. Is in fact the snitch, a mole, a snake, because Wilder got rid of him. That must be the only reason why. What are you trying to tell us here? Mark Breland is the one who what? Okay, let's break down some of the excuses. What is it that Mark Breland is guilty of? Because again, nobody's been specific about this. Are we saying that Mark Breland is the one who spiked Deontay Wilder's water as per some of the excuses? Are we saying Mark Breland threw in the towel as a favour to Darrell because he has some kind of links with Kronk, as in Mark Breland has links with Kronk, and of course he would know Sugar Hill Stewart very, very well. He threw in the towel because of his relationship, past relationship, by the way, with them. Are you saying that Mark Breland had something to do with the glove gate? Loaded gloves. One day it's loaded. Next day there's nothing in the gloves, as in no padding or anything. I don't know how you can have both, but you know what? They come out with these excuses time after time. Mark Breland has something to do with that. Because ultimately, we can only go by what it is that Team Wilder have said themselves. Is it the costume? Is that Mark Breland's fault? Did Mark Breland convince Deontay Wilder to wear that costume and take 25 goddamn minutes to walk to the ring? Well, it felt like 25 minutes. And I didn't understand a word of what that guy on the microphone was saying that was walking in front of him, to be honest with you. Still, it took a hell of a long time to get to the ring. Is that Mark Breland's fault? Oh, is that what you're blaming him for? Because the only other excuse is Glovegate. Which again, we know this is coming from Team Wilder because his own demented brother, Marcellus Wilder, said on social media, as per the autopsy, yeah, Wilder had an autopsy, by the way, the doctor has confirmed that the dent in Wilder's head must have been used by a blunt object. A gloved fist cannot do this. Okay, so Tyson Fury had loaded gloves. Okay, even though they contradict themselves all the time, well, it was loaded, but no, it wasn't because there was no padding. Hey, it is what it is. So, is that Mark Breland's fault? Is that Mark Breland's fault? Was it Mark Breland who was in the changing room with Tyson Fury when Tyson Fury was getting his hands wrapped? When the gloves were being placed on top of the wraps? When the tape was being put around the wrists of the gloves? Was Mark Breland in the changing room overseeing this with Tyson Fury? So therefore, quite clearly he missed it. Therefore, it's his fault. Or he allowed Tyson Fury to do this? Of course he wasn't. There's down footage of JD's, Wilder's other manager and trainer, was in there with Tyson Fury overseeing all of this. But yet JD's has managed to keep his job. Mark Breland is clearly the rat. Now, Team Wilder haven't called him a rat. Team Wilder haven't given us an official statement as to why they released Mark Breland. But first of all, my question is, why has it taken 12 years for this to happen? Well, because you lost. It was inevitable that you were going to lose at some point. First of all, it's heavyweight boxing. People lose. Second of all, you've always been limited and you've been dancing with death for a long, long time as far as the win-loss record is concerned. He loses virtually every fight that he participates in until he lands that get-out-of-jail-free card, that big punch. So it was obvious to anybody that he was going to lose. But for some reason, some of these fans are like, what? Wilder lost? I can't believe it. Deontay Wilder actually lost the goddamn fight. You mean he's not a god? You mean he's just human? People, I don't know what it is that you see in this guy. He was always going to lose. It was inevitable. Once you step up in competition, at some point you're going to lose. But what's that got to do with Mark Breland? Mark Breland was an excellent amateur. In fact, doesn't he still hold the record for most amount of knockouts in the amateurs? I might be wrong on that one, but I know at one time he'd done very, very well in the amateurs. As a pro as well, very, very good. Mark Breland is probably the only guy on Team Wilder's team who actually knows boxing, who has lived it, who has breathed it, and of course has been in trouble before himself. So he can see the signs. He knows when his fighter is done. He knows that. And he gave Wilder chance after chance after chance, regardless of the fact that Deontay Wilder may well have said on numerous occasions, no matter what happens, no matter what you see in the ring, never ever throw in that towel. All fighters say that. But you as a trainer, it's your job to make sure that your fighter lives, most importantly, and fights another day. That's your job. On fight night, you have nothing else to do except give them some advice or save them from themselves. JD's, of course, is his other co-manager along with Shady Finkel, but JD's is also his co-trainer as well. JD's was the one afterwards. No, Mark Breland, he shouldn't have thrown in the towel. Okay, JD's. So your guy, Deontay Wilder, what? He could have ended up like another Nick Blackwell, yeah? In a coma. You don't know how these things are going to go. Maybe even worse. Because he said, don't throw in the towel, and you listen to him. This goes to show that JD doesn't give a damn about Deontay Wilder. He looks at Wilder as the only way for him to make an income. Because that's why he's manager. I mean, what's JD's track record as far as training fighters are concerned? What's his track record? What's he done as an amateur? What did he do as a pro? We don't know, do we? Not much to brag about, quite clearly. Mark Breland, on the other hand, we can say. Mark Breland is the one who saw that and thought, no. Wilder, I've been with him for 12 years. I can't be seeing this no more. This is not good for him. And throw in the towel. So how's somebody going to tell me that, first of all, Mark Breland should lose his job and then not be JD's? Again, just by going what Team Wilder have put out there, that there's something wrong with Tyson Fury's gloves. There was not. But just by going what it is that they believe, the only person who had any kind of access to Tyson Fury's gloves and wraps was JD's when he was overseeing Tyson Fury get his hands wrapped. But yet he missed it. Yet he still got his job. How does that work out? Exactly. How does it work out? Why? Because Mark Breland is a quiet guy. He doesn't run around shouting here, there and everywhere like other people do. Okay, well, he's an easy target. Let's make it look like we're making changes. Mark Breland, off you go. Now, personally, I don't give a damn whether or not that he released Mark Breland or if he didn't. I don't care. For me, I want Tyson Fury to do the same job on him in the next fight as what he's done in the last one. Hopefully, does it more emphatically, and we see Wilder face down, arse up, and getting back up again for at least a 10 count. So, it makes no difference to me, but the point is, you guys are calling Mark Breland a rat. Well, he's the only one in that team that you could probably look at and go, he done nothing wrong, did he? But what you do is you listen to these absolute morons who perpetuate these lies. Why? Because they want your super chats. They want your views. They want your subscriptions. That's what they want. And you're listening to them. You're participating and condoning their reasoning. Every day is something new. Now, I don't watch these channels, but I know for a fact every day is something new because they can't let it go. They can't let it go. And I can only presume that's where it's coming from, these other uploaders who are saying that Mark Breland must have been the rat. Wilder can do anything and they will defend him. It's what they do. They rely on him. Without Wilder, they have nothing. Their channel will crumble. Don't you understand? So they're doing everything they can out of desperation. Wilder is right to get rid of Mark Breland. Shelley Finkel is the greatest manager that there possibly is. JD is the greatest trainer that there possibly is. If he got rid of Shelley Finkel, oh well, I never liked Shelley Finkel. I always thought he was a bit of a snake. You can't trust these people. You can't trust them. But for Deontay Wilder to get rid of his trainer, hey, that's nothing new. Yes, it's taken 12 years for him to do it, but it's nothing new for a boxer to change trainers, whether things are going well or whether they're not. It's part of boxing. But to call him a snake, and that must be the reason why, is disrespectful. Very, very disrespectful. Drop your thoughts below. Click thumbs up, subscribe. Catch you all on the next video.